Tickets. Hello and welcome into episode 49 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. Before we get started today, please remember to like and subscribe, comment on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, leave 5 stars, and on either platform, make sure you share it to everyone and everywhere in every way that you know how. It is Saturday, September 7th. It's been another 2 week break here in the pod. You know, it's off season where we're coasting a little bit before the season gets underway and we're going to start potting a lot, but it is tier time. We are getting into tiers. Today being off-season grades. If you read the title of the episode, you probably figured that out by now. So we're going to go through all 30 teams. We're not going to talk about every single move they made this off-season, but we're just going to give our grade, why we think they deserve that grade. We'll probably debate a little bit, I imagine. And then we'll put it in a tier and we'll see how it looks.
Yeah,
But before any of that, Dom, how are you on this Saturday?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking. I have had a very good last weekend and week. We had a show last Friday that was a lot of fun, had a great time. And I also got tickets for Oasis. So,
Yes, I was
um,
hearing about that experience.
yeah, I we had a 2.4% chance to get tickets, and I won't get into the whole story.
In London, right?
In London, Wembley. I'm seeing them in Wembley with got 7 people, including me. I have one extra ticket. So
Okay.
let me know if you're feeling mad for it.
I feel like
Go,
going to London.
yeah, with your boys to see Oasis, a band that you know like 3 songs about of.
Yeah.
Uh yeah. But I've been good. And right now LA is going through a heat wave, which is interesting.
Oh, interesting.
It's
It's
like
like,
114 degrees right now.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you went and played
It's whatever.
basketball earlier, right?
I Yeah, totally. I definitely thought about it, but then I woke up and was like, maybe I don't want to play basketball in 100-degree weather.
Hmm.
But I've been doing good and seeing friends and playing music, recording music, so having a great time. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well as well. My first gig is today, actually, after this for the community band I joined. It's not like I'm not you. I'm not a singer-songwriter, four-person band, years of record and success and all that. It's like 75 people, and I just play the bass drum, which is like the easiest instrument to play probably.
But
And
that is
and I
so
just go,
fun.
I just
That
I just
is,
and I literally people were asking me at work like, "Oh, are you excited?" I was like, "I don't know any of the songs. I just kind of make it up and hope I'm right." So
yeah.
that's
Well,
basically how it's going to go. And there's like other bass drummers that I can, use as resources. So
exactly. Dude, I'm
um,
excited for you. I really hope there's some video or something I can watch later. Just want to see you jamming on that bass drum, dude.
yeah, I bought my own mallets. I don't know if I told you that.
I
Did I
think you
tell you
did
that?
because the ones they gave you were really bad
Yeah, they
or
were not
something.
great.
Yeah.
I'm renting
Yeah.
the drum for like $5 a month, and then I was like, I'm gonna get my own mallets because these mallets are yucky.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely the way to do it. Oh, I can't wait to hear all about it. Where is it again?
It's at Batch, which is like a croissant place and craft beer place here in Austin. It's
Cool.
like one of those places that like has a little restaurant inside, but then outside is like patio and benches and like picnic tables, that kind of
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, one of those places. So,
Very
um,
cool.
yeah, I've been there once and it was good. So I'm excited. We'll see how that goes. Other than that, everything's been good. Yeah,
And
just
your car
just
is fixed,
cruising.
right? I
My
think
car is
that
fixed.
you mentioned, okay, I think last time is when you told me the whole story, but I think you texted me that like it
Yeah,
is fixed. So
I'm
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 glad.
a driving man again. Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Glad to hear it.
That
Now
was
the
terrible.
question that everyone wants to know is what are you wearing?
What am I wearing? That's a great question. This is actually a birthday gift, a little belated from Jared, who I told not to give me a gift and he did anyways. It is a shirt, a jersey shirt actually.
Oh.
Uh, Seiren number 10. It's from Kuroko's Basketball, which is a basketball anime that Jared and I have both watched. Uh,
Oh, that's sick.
so I
Okay.
figured this is a basketball thing. Might as
It's
well.
absolutely a basketball thing. That's awesome. What's the name of the what's it called? The anime?
Kuroko's Basketball.
Kuroko's basketball. Okay.
It's good. Uh,
Cool.
yeah.
Maybe one day I'll check it out. That's awesome though.
What
I'm
about
wearing
you? Yeah.
I'm wearing the classic break the paint, rip the neck, give no quarter, Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, that should just be our merchandise, I
I'm
think.
just gonna yeah, I'm just gonna replace this symbol with like our faces and Reggie Jackson's, and that's it. Just us
Perfect.
three. There we go. But yeah, before we get into, we're talking about the off-season grades, I think there's just a couple news stuff we can just talk about just real quick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like not a lot because it is off season, but a few notable things like back-to-back contest champion and G League MVP Mac McClung signed a partially guaranteed deal with the Magic. Back to the Magic.
Yeah.
And got five guards again. So
I mean, he was on their G League roster for like the whole year, though. So maybe this means he'll actually play on their real roster a little bit. I'm not sure.
I hope so. I thought
Yeah.
he was on the Sixers roster. Oh, maybe he was on the Sixers
He was on the
roster
Sixers
last
last
year.
year. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I guess 2 years ago. I don't know. I don't know what year we're talking about now.
Me either. We're in the middle of it, but
Yeah.
good for him. I'm glad. Partially guaranteed is better than no guaranteed deal. So
Yeah. Another partially guaranteed deal. Lakers legend Talen Horton-Tucker signed one with the Bulls, leaving the Jazz. So, we talked about, I feel like the Jazz having 100 players. Nothing
yeah, good
less.
start. Good start. Yeah. What do you think about that? I mean, they don't have a ton of guards, I feel like. They have Kobe White, Giddy,
It's whatever, I guess. Sure.
THT, yeah. What I was reading is that he's a Chicago native, so they're just kind of getting
Oh, okay.
Chicago natives back like on the team, which is kind of cool. I like that aspect of it.
Anthony Davis, you're next.
No, 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 no. Unless you give us, wait, I don't want anything the Bulls have.
You could have Vooch. Don't worry.
I bet they would try to do some Zach LaVine deal, and I don't know, I would not want that at all.
Yeah.
Talking about you know, uh, legends, Tristan
Legends.
Thompson signed a 1 year deal to return back to the Cavaliers. So
Wow.
another
I
locker
saw
room
a
guy, kind
post that
of.
said, is Tristan Thompson's jersey gonna get retired? I said, no.
No,
Absolutely not.
no, 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 no,
Yeah, I don't
no.
imagine so. Number 13 in Cleveland will never be the same, though.
It won't. Yeah. If Ilgauskas isn't retired, definitely
Is his
not.
number not retired?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
I
I
feel
don't.
like I've never seen anyone else wear number 11. Well, I can think of
It's
the
also not a
Cavs.
great number. So
So, because like Kyrie, his number is 11, but he was 2 on the Cavs. Because
that is a very good point. I'm gonna look it up while we continue.
okay, continuing with last time talking about Matt Ryan being waived by the Pelicans. As soon as we were done recording the podcast, they signed him right back. So
Yeah,
Matt Ryan
literally.
is back. The DoorDash has returned to New Orleans.
11 is retired. So maybe they will retire Tristan Thompson
Ilgauskas was like an all-star, like once or twice though too. Like
a few times actually,
yeah,
yeah. No, no, no. He was great. Yeah, yeah, Matt Ryan's back on the Pelicans. So
woo.
woo. This signing upset me. And I told you I was vocal about it. This is like the only one that you and I talked about.
Yeah,
The Celtics signed Lonnie Walker the fourth to a 1 year Exhibit 10 contract. How do they keep just getting good players? Lonnie Walker is a very good NBA player.
an Exhibit 10 contract is literally like we talked about it for Buddy Boheim, I think, who signed one with
Okay.
the Thunder. It's literally like a 1 year minimum, except they can throw you in the G League if they want to. So it's
That
like,
is,
how do you get Lonnie Walker on that contract?
I have no clue. Lonnie Walker has had a,
He said, "I want to win."
I guess so. That's what, I mean, he's so young though. Like, I feel like he should just build up. Like, he was on a minimum for the Lakers, then got a pretty good contract with the Nets. I think it was 2 years, 8 million. Like, not bad. And then just keep getting contracts like that, build it up. But hey,
Still a millionaire
still a millionaire. Can't be
before
mad about it.
taxes.
Before exactly afterwards, he's screwed.
Um, and then another signing not in the NBA, Evan Fournier signed a 2 year, 4 million deal in the Euro League. He said, "I'm going overseas. I'm done here." Uh, really his career just ended after he signed the big deal with the Knicks, never played,
Yeah.
traded the Pistons, got waived, maybe, I don't know. His last couple of years for him have been a little rough, but in France, they love him. They love him over there.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, I think that's good for him. It seems like he wants to play because he probably could just be on a roster here, but
Yeah.
not get any playing time. So it seems like he just wants to play basketball, which I respect, and might as well go to the Euro League. He's French, so just. It's he's going back home essentially. So
Thank you,
good.
Evan.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Evan Fournier. Maybe he'll return like Ubaselli or something. Who knows? Never know.
He'll return for his farewell tour, don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, like okay, sure. Ooh, I love this name. The Grizzlies released Mamadi Diakate, right?
That's close. Yeah.
Yeah, who was acquired from the Nets for Zaire Williams. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
Mamadi
Mamadi Diakate.
Diakite, probably.
Diakite. Yeah, it's an
Be my
I.
guess.
Why did I say dot? Anyway, so he was released by the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they traded Zaire Williams for him from the Nets and then released him. So the Grizzlies really traded Zaire Williams for nothing. That's the point I really wanted to make with that.
Yeah, super
Um,
interesting.
and yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, I want to say this guy was on the Knicks and whatever the Nets and the Mikal Bridges trade. So he just went from New York to Brooklyn to Memphis to nowhere.
They're just sending him down the
Unfortunate.
coast. Yeah, essentially. Um,
In other not great news, Gigi Jackson II broke the fifth metatarsal in his right foot and underwent surgery to repair it. Was successful, but he is expected to at least to miss at least 3 months of the NBA season.
yeah. I mean, he broke it during practice too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
Grizzlies are
just
gonna
walking
be
around breaking his foot.
he's like, hey, or not hit by a car like Kelly Oubre, which was crazy
That
too,
was crazy.
Um, yeah, Grizzlies are gonna be a lot better this year. They have a lot of people coming back. Jaw's gonna be back. Gigi Jackson, though, I feel like would be a rotational player, and he
He was
will
he was
be.
very good for them last year.
Yeah, especially, because he kind of because they had like those injuries and people sitting out, he had a time to shine. So, you know, he would definitely be on their bench, a good, bench player, but he'll be back sooner than later. So,
Yeah.
and he's young, so he'll heal quick and everything, which is good to see.
Yeah, he's like
And
19.
yeah, he's super. He wasn't he like the youngest player in the NBA at one point.
He sure was.
Yeah. So other news, the Pacers re-signed TJ McConnell to a 4-year, $45 million extension. Great
Great.
for TJ.
Yeah.
Great value for TJ McConnell.
TJ
Um,
McConnell doesn't shoot layups. He only shoots close jump shots.
yeah, and he's really efficient at them too.
It's strange.
Um, I really love how he really is like a really great engine off the bench for the Pacers, especially because he really plays that fast-paced kind of style, like Tyrese Halliburton pushing the ball and stuff. So I
Yeah.
like him a lot in the Pacers. I thought he was a Pacers lifer, but I found out he's on the Sixers like years ago or
Yeah,
something.
he was on the process Sixers, another one of those guys that was on those teams.
Yeah, crazy.
Like Christian Wood. No one ever thinks about that either.
Oh, I thought he was started on the Pistons.
Like Nerlens Noel, like Robert Covington. All these guys, Dario Saric. That team had so many random young guys.
Yeah.
Another re-signing that I think was good value, just like TJ McConnell, Clippers re-signing Ivica Zubac to a 3-year, $58.6 million extension. He is currently the longest tenured Clipper on the team since leaving your Lakers back in 2019 in a trade for Mike Muscala, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Um,
I forgot the trade, but yeah,
not good. Could have Zubac.
I know. Don't remind me. Yeah, I mean, Ivica Zubac is one of my favorite Clippers if I can have it. You know what I mean? Like he's a very
Yeah,
good center, does a lot for them, and it's pretty good value. Someone was going to pay him that money, so he's very well sought after for sure.
I
Um,
like Big Zoo.
yeah, and another player who deserved this money is the Nuggets gave Jamal Murray a 4-year, $208 million maximum contract extension, guaranteeing him $244 million over the next 5 seasons. So congratulations, Jamal Murray, getting your max.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Zero-time All-Star Jamal Murray.
still crazy, still crazy. I mean, maybe this is the year. I don't know. He just keeps getting better,
The
I
West
think.
is just loaded with
Just
guards.
too loaded. Yeah, too
Yeah,
loaded.
it's tough. But no, yeah, you got to keep some of your core guys since you want to lose one every year. You got to keep some of them around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamal Murray, I think is, I mean, him and Jokic to me. Do you think they'll be lifers for the Nuggets?
I think Jokic will.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, I'm more uncertain about, but I could see it for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of to me, I kind of both feel like they'll be there together.
I hope so. We need more lifers.
Yeah, no, I know. I would love that. For
Speaking of, I
sure.
think this next guy is a lifer. Steph Curry getting a 1 year, $62.6 million extension. That'll push him through the 26-27 season. So he already had 2 seasons under his belt. Now he has a third one. Obviously the most amount of money they can give him for that 1 season. But yeah, that'll push him to like age 38 or 39. It's pretty close to lifer at that point.
Oh yeah, there's no way he's gonna be like my last season. Like, you know what? I've always wanted to play on the
I
Wizards.
always wanted to play with the Pistons.
Yeah, let's
He is
go
from
over
Charlotte.
there.
What if he ended his career in the Hornets?
That wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, that's basically all the news that we've gotten so
That's
far.
the news.
Yeah, we're
That's
getting ready. The season's gonna start in about another month and a half. Preseason will start in about a month, so
oh yeah.
getting excited for that. And kind of is there's still some things that might be shaking up, but nothing probably too crazy. And I can't wait for these city jerseys to come out.
Markel
So
Fultz still a free agent somewhere.
yeah, he'll end up somewhere. I'm not too worried about that. But you know what I am, thinking a lot about? I'm thinking about this offseason so far, and I'm thinking about how we should be grading them. So what do you think?
Yes, yes, that is what I think. If you're a longtime fan of the podcast, this was the second and third episode we did. We did it right after, or we did it like July, so it was still in the off season. But we did 2 episodes of off season grades. Each of them were like 2.5 hours. This will not be that because we went over
No.
every move for every team.
Yeah, I mean,
And
yeah, literally. And we had to split. I think we did it East and West,
we,
right?
no, we literally I had it open alphabetical order, so it was like A to L and then like L to Z. Yeah, it was bad. We were just starting. Okay, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, that's
Forgive
so
us,
funny
forgive
to
us.
look back on.
That's
But yeah,
bad.
this will be better. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
So we've been throwing the news in here each episode, whatever news has happened. So now we're gonna kind of get into it, talk about the main points, and tier these because we love tiers and we think it's so much more interesting. So I'm gonna share my screen here, and I got an NBA wheel open.
Lovely.
Yeah, I don't know what this. I saw this one and I was like, this looks goofy. I'll use this one. And then I have a tier list open over here with all the NBA logos. So
Okay, lovely.
the Clippers one's not updated, but that's okay.
Neither is the Nets one, but it's okay.
Well, that one is like barely even noticeable.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, like yeah, it's just a shield,
so yeah,
anyways.
rather than picking our favorite teams or going alphabetical or anything like that, we'll do it randomly. We'll talk.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see our first tier list of the offseason. I love
let's
tier
do
lists. I love
it.
making tier lists with you. Well, we'll do positions after this and all that before
Oh,
the season starts.
it's all gonna be that. I
All
can't
right,
wait.
here we go.
Let's do it. Who
Oh,
we
there's
got
some
first?
there's some bad music. Can you hear this music?
No, I was on a similar website before we started, and I muted everything because wow, okay. Detroit
Detroit
Pistons.
basket. I'm gonna mute my music real quick because I don't remember that.
Yeah, do
That was
that.
bad. Okay,
Do
did I
that.
remove? I didn't remove them. Okay, well,
There we
wait.
go. Okay.
I think I deleted them from that, but not actually from the wheel.
There we
Great.
go. Cool.
How do I mute
Um,
this? Somebody help me.
I I can't tell you from here.
All right, I just muted my Chrome in the volume mixer.
Okay.
That'll work.
Amazing.
All right, so
Okay,
Detroit, who wants to
Pistons.
go? Who wants to go?
Here, I'll go first. You go
Okay,
next. So I gave him a B plus.
a B plus.
Yes, I gave him a
Okay,
B plus. I'll tell you why. So
okay,
they re-signed Cade Cunningham and Simone Fontecchio. Think those are good things.
yeah,
I also don't hate the signings that they had. They have spacing issues, so they got Tim Hardaway Jr. They got Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris. That'll help. They signed Paul Reed. Big fan of Paul Reed, and they
yeah.
lost Wiseman. So I think all in all, like I think that's a good offseason. You're not going to be going out to get, Paul George or anything
Right.
like that. So I think you address some of the issues, and I think you'll be better next year.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts. What do you think?
I was much harsher on the Detroit Pistons. I gave him a D for Detroit.
You gave him a
I gave him
D.
a D.
Tell me
Here's
why.
why. Here's why. Overpaid Tobias Harris by a lot. And I get that there probably wasn't a lot of free agents flocking there, but who was competing for $26 million for Tobias Harris after the playoffs he just had? Who's out there like, yeah, actually I'm gonna pay him 25, so you better pay him 26, Probably could have got him on a better deal. Uh,
I agree with you, but they had to spend the money. That's the
had
only
sure,
thing.
sure.
That's the only thing. Yeah.
And then the other thing I didn't like that they did is draft Ron Holland. And I could be wrong on
Mm,
this. I don't think Ron Holland's a bad prospect, but what he cannot really do yet, and he may develop this, is he's not a great shooter.
mm.
And they have Cade, who's not a great shooter. And they have Jaden Ivey, who can't shoot. And they have a Star Thompson, who shot 14%. They don't have any shooting, and there's guys there that I think fit their team a lot better than Ron Holland. And I
Gotcha.
know you shouldn't draft necessarily for fit, but it was just like, okay, we have another guy, another athletic wing. Okay, we have five of those now. Eventually, they'll become something.
Yeah.
I also didn't like the losing of Wiseman. I thought, I think there's still some potential there. Um, I did put that they acquired some interesting players, like you mentioned, Paul Reed, probably the one I liked the most, just kind
Yeah.
of picking them up for free. So maybe I was a little harsh. Maybe I could go a little higher than my D grade, but those were my main reasons.
I mean, all those reasons are very valid for sure. I think we're looking at the same, the same things. I'm looking at the positive angles, you're like the negative, and you have to look at both. I feel like that's gonna be the same thing throughout all of this.
Mm.
Because of that, I'm comfortable putting them in C, and then they can move up, and then like lower C as we move forward. Does
Yeah,
that make
yeah.
sense?
C right in the middle of what we had. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So who do we got next?
Let's see. Thank God there's no more
At least,
uncomfortable
at
music.
least, at least we can agree that the Pistons will be better this year, right?
How could they be worse?
Yeah, there we go.
Uh,
That's all that really matters to me.
All right, next we got the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team I'm sure
Okay.
you are thrilled to talk about. Um,
Absolutely. Here
I'm
we go.
I'm looking at my grades here and I'm like, okay, I gave him a C plus, which I feel like is also kind of low. Um, they signed PJ Dozier. I have that on my list, which is interesting as my first thing. But they lost Kyle Anderson, who I think was a good addition to their team. They lost Monty Morris, who I know didn't play that much down the stretch, but still important. And then they drafted Rob Dillingham, which I think could be good for them. They traded an unprotected pick in the future, which is whatever, because they're trying to compete now. He didn't have a great summer league. I think this would be higher if he had a better summer league. He looked rough. Um, but him learning under Mike Conley and all that, I think could be good. I just don't know if they did enough to kind of like, they went in the playoffs. They had a pretty decent run, making the conference finals. Obviously, I just think they could have done more in addressing the things that were kind of bad for their team in the playoffs.
I totally agree. I actually gave him a C.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so we're on the same page. I also had signed PJ Dozier, and I also put Joe Ingles, but I know he shouldn't really be getting playing time.
Right.
I feel like there were better agents, free agents that can shoot that aren't 45-year-old Joe Ingles, but that is where we're at. I don't know if I don't think you mentioned they also lost Jordan McLaughlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been there for a while, and he's been kind of a backup, and he's been reliable, which is what I liked about him.
Mhm.
I think he went to the Kings, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
which will be good there. And yeah, I totally agree with you. I think their issues that they had in the playoffs weren't addressed. I think they hung their hat on defense, and they're not better defensively now. So I don't know if they just all individually have to get better. But yes, I'm feeling C for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, I wish they had a better offseason. There's a couple teams that I like that I'm just kind of harsh because I want them to be better. So
Yeah. It's not that they did terrible things. They just didn't
for
do
sure.
enough,
I
maybe.
think PJ Dozier will be an underrated signing for sure. Hopefully, he was injured. I think it was his Achilles he tore, so
Yeah.
hopefully he's back.
Tell me what you think about the New Orleans Pelicans off
Okay.
season.
So Pelicans, gave him a B plus.
Okay.
So they got DeJounte Murray, so that obviously makes them already better.
Yeah.
They signed Daniel Tice after losing Jonas Valanciunas, which Valanciunas is a better player, but he didn't really get a lot of playing time on that team, so I'm okay with that. They got Javante Green, not JaMychal Green. I've made sure to know the difference. They did lose quite a bit of people as well. Like I mentioned, Jonas Valanciunas, Cody Zeller, who is the greatest player of all time,
Yeah.
Larry
F just for
Nance
that.
Jr., Dyson Daniels, a young prospect, and
Yeah.
Najee Marshall, who's very good, like defender,
Mhm.
and also like kind of a gritty defender, and kind of has like plays with a chip on his shoulder. Um, Now I'm looking at it, I'd probably give him more like a B minus, but I
Uh-huh.
really like DeJounte Murray. The only thing that would make this better is if they get Brandon Ingram off the team. Just because now I think it's just kind of like they're overloaded on these mid-level, like high, I don't know, like I would say like B plus players, and like they can just really try to fill out the depth and also get a better center as starting center than Daniel Tice. So I'd probably give a B. What do you think?
Yeah, I had him right at B minus, is the grade I gave them. The reason for this, you mentioned trading for DeJounte Murray. I do think, you mentioned losing Larry Nance, Dyson Daniels, both parts of that trade, I think is fine to give up for the acquisition of DeJounte Murray. So I thought it was good value for them. The reason they were not higher for me though, even though I thought the trade was good value, losing Valanciunas, I thought was unfortunate. I know in the playoffs he was often kind of played off the court. He didn't fit well with Zion and stuff like that. He didn't space the floor or anything. But re-sign him, maybe trade him to trade deadline or something. Sign and trade him, get some sort of value back because
Yeah.
he's still a good player. And then yeah, having Brandon Ingram still in the team lowered their grade for me
Yeah.
because right now you have DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, and whoever you think their best center is. That's seven guys. Five of those guys have to start, and I think all seven of them are worthy to start. So,
Absolutely.
you know, um, I don't think they're if they want to run small ball Zion at the five lineups, I don't think they will. So um, that means that you're going to have Trey Murphy probably still coming off the bench, which I think is unfortunate. And then maybe even CJ or Herb Jones now coming off the bench too, which is kind
Yeah.
of blah. So
Yeah, I think they can definitely do something. They can get good role players for Brandon Ingram, and I think it would just work out for them. But not a terrible offseason. They're going to be better this year, too. As long as they stay healthy. Big if, for
big
sure.
if for the Pelicans. Yeah, let's.
Yeah. But that's how it is every year, isn't it? It's
Eh,
just like
how many
they
games will
were,
Zion play? And
yeah, they literally were steamrolling the Lakers, and then he goes out for the last 2 minutes, and then Lakers win the play-in, you know? How different is that?
all
Um,
right,
all right, here we go.
Houston time, and it's my
Tell
turn.
me exactly. Let's
Um,
go.
yeah, I give the Rockets a B. A pretty standard B off season. This is why they traded nothing basically for AJ Griffin, which I liked the acquisition of. And then they drafted Reed Shepard, which I was down on, and then Summer League happened, and I was no longer down on it because he was awesome at Summer League. He was really, really good. Excited to see what he'll be. The reason the Rockets I put them right at B instead of going higher or lower, is they didn't do a lot. Um, and we talked about this in the podcast. They gave all the Nets their picks back, which I wasn't a fan of. They traded it for the Suns picks instead, hoping to acquire Kevin Durant and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and that hasn't happened. So I don't know if I buy in on that bet because I think the Nets are going to be really, really bad. And it would have been nice to have their picks, but now we have the Suns picks instead. And then yeah, we didn't use those for anything. So we kind of have a good problem, a lot of young talent. Which we've had for several years, it feels like. And I just feel like maybe this was the offseason to maybe pick a direction, buy in on one of those guys, whether it's
Yeah.
Jalen Green, Şengün, whoever. Right now, we're kind of just in the middle, developing. We still have some veterans, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, those guys we paid last offseason. I think we'll be better this year, maybe push for a plan, but I just thought maybe we could have cashed in on one of those guys, or like it doesn't seem like we know exactly what our identity is.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I gave him an A,
Okay.
probably like more like an A minus because I did forget about the pick stuff. All I have in my notes is that they drafted Reed Shepard, and he's a very good prospect. And I agree with you. The only really negatives I have is that they haven't picked a direction. They have a lot of good players, Jabari Smith Jr. as well, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, like people that should be playing, but they also have these veterans who lift the floor, but at what cost of developing these younger players? So very interested to see what they do. I like at least I'm glad that they have a good coach and Ime Udoka, and they are deciding on a culture and moving forward with that. So I like A minus probably, maybe B
Okay.
plus, but I think better than the Pelicans.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
I
them
think
better. I
so.
mean, I had Pelicans at B minus, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm cool with that for sure. Yeah,
Let's see who we
can't
got
wait.
next
Can't wait to
on.
go to some games though. I gotta decide. I gotta get a Rockets jersey. I gotta just pick a player and just go
Yeah,
for it.
I mean, I have the Tari Eason jersey.
Jersey,
I really
yeah.
enjoy that.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
tell me about the Indiana Pacers. What do you think about their offseason?
Let me find them. I don't know why it's so hard for me. I have to go in alphabet. Indy. I forgot. I did an alphabetical order of like. There we go.
I did an
Right
alphabetical
after.
order of city, but I have it in three columns.
Oh, interesting. I just have a list 1 to 30.
Okay.
Pacers. I gave an A.
Okay.
So they re-signed Andrew Nimhart, Pascal Siakam, James Johnson, who's more of a, just a bench guy, but he's there for the young players, kind of there to, give them a culture, which is cool.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin as well did very good in the playoffs for them. They added James Wiseman, which I think we're high on James Wiseman. I think he's developed a lot since his Warriors days, for
Yeah.
sure. They did lose Jalen Smith, but he got played off the floor in the playoffs, so I'm
Yeah,
totally fine with
wasn't playing
that.
a ton.
Yeah, and they have a lot of the same. Like they have Isaiah Jackson. They still have Halliburton. They re-signed TJ McConnell. I guess I didn't even have that. Um, but I like what the Pacers did quite a bit. I think they're still going to be very competitive this upcoming year, and they're going to have a full season of Pascal Siakam and Halliburton and all that. So I think they're just going to be even better. So I give them an A.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I gave him an A plus. I think the difference here, the Pacers and the Timberwolves we talked about earlier both made the conference finals. The Timberwolves, I think, had some glaring issues that they could address, whereas the Pacers were young, not expected to make the conference finals, and I think continuity will be their friend.
Mhm.
Because a lot of their players are young, they need to develop, they need to build their chemistry, etc. You mentioned James Wiseman, who we've talked about a lot already on this podcast. But I do like the addition of. So yeah, the notes I had basically were they re-signed all their key players and then brought in him. So
Yeah.
um, I think that's good for this team. I hope that they avoid a 2021 Atlanta Hawks thing where they make the conference finals and they're like, okay, now we're just gonna be this for a little bit, and then their team's kind of fallen off since then.
Yeah,
Um,
they do have a really good coach though in Rick Carlisle, so I think it will
Rick.
be improved upon. Um, but yeah, I think A tier for sure. First
Yeah,
A tier for
first
so
A
far.
tier. Pacers are winning the video so far. Look out, everybody.
All right, let's see who's coming up next though. We'll see.
Yeah. What other?
I
Uh,
Did you just like trail off?
yeah, yeah.
What other I don't
Oh, the
know.
Sacramento Kings. Of
Okay,
course, getting them
okay.
right after the Pacers is nice.
That is very fun.
With
Okay,
that
tell
trade.
me
So
about
the
the Kings.
Sacramento Kings, I have them at a B plus. That's where I put their off season. They re-signed Malik Monk, reigning almost six man of the year. And then of course they traded for DeMar DeRozan. That was the big thing for them off season, which I think a lot of people are down on because now their team is very offensive oriented. De'Aaron Fox, DeMar, Sabonis, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter. None of those guys are great defenders. Keegan Murray is pretty good. Um, but I thought in terms of value, they didn't give up a ton to give him. They gave up Harrison Barnes,
Yeah.
whatever. They gave up, I think, like a couple seconds or something, like some crazy
Uh, Chris Duarte.
Chris Duarte. Yeah, okay.
He was
Um,
included, yeah.
yeah, guy was a 24-year-old rookie. He's already about to retire. Um, so yeah, I like their team. Their team has a bunch of guys I like on it now,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I don't know how they'll fare. They have two very clutch guys now. What do you do with that in those close games? I'm not sure. How does DeMar kind of play into the Sabonis running a lot of the offense from the high pick and roll? I'm not sure how that looks. I'm not sure how good or bad their defense will be. That's definitely the biggest worry. So I could definitely see somebody giving them a lower grade because they didn't address that side of the ball. But I like the players, and I think the team will at least be fun. So.
Yeah. You gave him a B plus. I gave him an A minus
Okay.
for all the same reasons you did. I also included that they re-signed Alex Len, who's been a good backup off the bench. Solid, not he's doing his job. That's all you want from him. Also got Jordan McLaughlin, who I think will be. They have because they lost Davion Mitchell, Chris Duarte, so get some backup guards. I think Jordan McLaughlin's great. They still have Keon Ellis.
Excited
Um,
about Keon Ellis.
oh yeah. Jalen McDaniels, who I never really watched a lot of in on the Raptors, but if he's anything like Jaden McDaniels, should be a good pickup. They did lose Harrison Barnes, like you mentioned, but I think that's the biggest loss. He was like their really rotational player that they lost, and
Right.
getting DeMar DeRozan is he's better than Harrison Barnes for sure. So
This is true.
I give an A minus, and I'm
All right.
excited to watch this team. It's gonna be a fun team.
I'll put them right at the back of the A tier for now. We'll see. Maybe
Yeah,
they slip another top and B later. I don't know.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm
Right now,
excited.
it's looking pretty even though.
Doing pretty good. I like what we're doing so far.
All
Okay,
right. Tell me
this
about
one's
your
easy.
favorite team, the Boston
This
Celtics.
one's easy.
And
Boston, my favorite team of all time, Boston Celtics. Oh God. Okay, so I gave him an A, probably now an A plus because they have Lonnie Walker.
yeah.
I said basically stayed the same, so good offseason. And now you add Lonnie Walker, A plus. I mean, what else can I say?
Yeah. I give them an S plus. One of the highest
Oh,
grades
you were doing by that makes sense, yeah.
uh because they had they won the championship. They were the best team in the NBA, and then they re-signed everyone. Extended everybody, brought Lonnie Walker in, like you mentioned. I think maybe the only reason you would take it lower is the like Tatum didn't play a lot in the Olympics and Brown had the whole thing going on. Is like I don't know if that counts towards the Celtics, but maybe that makes the energy a little weird coming into the season. But yeah, I mean, you win the championship, you're the best team in the NBA, you re-sign everyone. Um,
Yeah, and now everyone has to adjust to you because you are the top. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but they had a really damn good offseason.
they re-signed like Derek White, I think. Tatum got like our highest. He's like the most played player in the NBA now. So yeah, it's like
Right, yeah,
they
yeah.
just got everybody.
They
They're all
got
there.
Sam Hauser back. I mean, the real GOAT.
Yeah.
So
Sam Hauser is good. Good
he's a
NBA player.
very, very good NBA player. Yeah. Let's talk about something else. I don't want to talk about how good the Celtics are. I
Did
can't
you
talk
did
about
you
that
have
more than a
any S
minute.
tiers or did you not do S tier?
I didn't do S. I just did A plus, stuff like
Gotcha.
that. But basically.
I got a couple S's.
Nice. I no, I mean like I would have given the Celtics an S. To me, an A plus is a S. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
We're doing Grizzlies now. There we
Memphis
go.
Grizzlies. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have the Grizzlies right at a D plus. I'm pretty low on this offseason for them. Here's why. They traded Zaire for nothing. We just talked about that. It was the eighth overall pick, which I know sucks. They re-signed Luke Kennard on a bigger deal than he was already making, which was strange. I didn't really understand that. And then they drafted Zach Edey, which I thought was way overdrafted, the ninth pick or whatever they had. Um, and I think, it's what they need. They needed a center. I get why they drafted him. It's just the value was not there. Thought maybe they could have traded back or traded up for Donovan Clingan instead. And Edie was, he was pretty good in the summer league, all things considered. But um, yeah, I just thought, I didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. What do you think?
You gave him a D plus. I gave him a C minus.
Okay.
So, yeah, I had to re-sign Luke Kennard for a deal that's worth more money. They lost Zaire Williams. They drafted Zach Edey, which can go either way, but not like super high on him. So yeah, I gave C minus, and I think I kind of understand why they didn't do too much, is because a lot of their last year they really didn't have a season with all the guys they brought in the season prior.
Right,
So.
right. I get
I
that.
think, and yeah, but the thing is, you still should want to get better, and they have money to, but maybe they're trying to see what this team's like first, and then next year they'll address issues. So, but yeah, C minus. I don't know. Where'd you put them? I didn't see
I put him in the D tier right now, but
that. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah,
we'll
it's
see.
out of all of the ones we talked about so far, it is my least favorite. Oh,
Uh-oh. Tell me about these Los
uh-oh.
Angeles Lakers.
I gave the Los Angeles Lakers a D minus.
Okay.
My first thing I have no additions.
They
So it's
didn't do
like
anything.
they didn't do anything and they lost things. So like
Not
yeah,
the Laker way.
not the like you re-signed LeBron, and yeah, he took barely a pay cut because he was going to take off less if they could get these people, and they
Right.
didn't get these. Re-signed Max Christie. I like Max Christie. Hopefully gets more minutes. But we lost Torian Prince, who's a very good role player for us last year, and just in general. And I also put Spencer Dinwiddie, although he didn't do too much. But it was
Not
nice to have
Spencer.
another ball handler that could
Right.
handle things if needed. Like he had some moments. Mostly he had non-moments, but he had some. And I'm especially harsh this year because like, year before Western Conference Finals, this past year, first round, we keep seeing the Nuggets. Why do we keep losing to the Nuggets? Let's address that. We haven't. So I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna do third season of meeting them in the playoffs. Maybe if we make it out of the play-in, I'm like, it's just a little disheartening, especially LeBron's getting older. It's like how much more of this window do we have? So that's my take. What did you do?
Fair.
What did you give them?
I just texted you the hoop grids for today because it was all Lakers related. I did it earlier and I forgot to tell you. Um,
Oh, so funny. Okay.
but I actually had the Lakers at a B, so maybe that's a little high for you. All I had written is that they draft or re-signed LeBron, but you didn't mention they drafted Dalton Connect at 17, which I think was very good, and they got Bronny at 55. Let's go! It's Bronny season, baby. Um, but I can put him lower.
I can put him. I'm okay with C behind the Pistons.
Okay.
And we'll move them around. We'll move things around a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm just obviously
It's
you
your
could
team,
tell
you know. You're
I'm
you're the
pretty
guy.
I'm
So
pretty emotional about it, as you
yeah.
could tell.
I
I
I
should have mentioned Dalton Connect. That
it's a big signing.
is a very good signing at
Or
17,
drafting,
especially.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's see
All right,
what
from
we got
one
next.
coast to the another, Orlando,
Orlando,
the Orlando Magic. Yeah, where do I
Orlando.
have Orlando? Here they are. I gave Orlando Magic an S minus off season. Uh, boom, they added KCP. They needed shooting. That guy's a really good shooter. He's also a good defender, which fits their identity. They signed Franz to the rookie max. He's definitely worth it. I think he'll be really good for them. And I think they got Jonathan Isaac on a steal of a deal, a 5-year descending deal. Very good defender when he plays. Obviously, health is a question, but he gets paid the most this upcoming season, and then gets paid less and less each year after that, which is nice. Usually, it's the other way. Usually, it goes up every season. So. I think that's pretty good. And yeah, they only were a first round team, but they were pretty young. I think Paolo can make a jump. I think, yeah, I don't think they needed to do too much. I think they're still
Yeah.
developing and they seem to know their identity is like we're defensive oriented, and they did I think good things to kind of churn that along. So that's why I had them in the S minus tier. But what about you?
You didn't mention the biggest thing. I don't think so, at least. Maybe I missed it. They signed KCP.
That's the first thing I said.
Okay, so I missed that because I was looking for my water and I found it. I gave him an A plus, which is this S essentially. Signed KCP. You lose Joe Ingles. Fine. You re-sign Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, Gary Harris, very good defender, can shoot. Jonathan Isaac, like you said, team friendly deal. And I mean the Goga Bitadze. I mean he's
Goga
back. He's back. They did
stealing
it.
minutes from Mo Wagner.
Yeah, you know how it goes. But I like what they did a lot. I've never really been a Magic fan, but this is last year and this year are going to be like the first years I'm actually interested in watching him. Paolo is very good. I love Jalen Suggs. Like he's someone I love his tenacity on defense, and
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that they found their identity. They added to it by adding KCP, who's going to just be an example, a leader, and yeah, I can't wait to see what they do this year. It's going to be very fun to watch them.
You didn't like the Dwight Magic?
No, because they went against the Lakers.
1 year in the finals.
Yeah, and we
Relax.
won, and we won. Now they lost. 2009. That's our year, man. 2009.
You've been blessed with talking about the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh God. Oh geez. That's what I get. That's what I get for saying that. Charlotte Hornets, I get a C plus.
Okay.
So they had some issues with spacing. You re-signed Seth Curry. He's a good NBA player. You got Josh Green. I like Josh Green. He's a young player. He's good. He came over from the Mavericks in the Klay Thompson deal somehow kind of like finagled his way
Yeah.
over.
Who knows?
They re-signed Miles Bridges. Boo. Don't like that guy, obviously. So I give him a C plus. They need a healthy season from LaMelo. They have Brendan Miller. They have Mark Williams. These are players that we like. Not LaMelo. Brandon
Uh,
Miller and Mark Williams. LaMelo's a good NBA player. I don't like him. Um, But and that's okay. But you didn't address more of the things you need. I think you really, if you want to be a destination for people to become better, you need to change your identity.
Mhm.
And I think they are been in this purgatory for so long. It is not hard to try and get a coach who can change the culture. I know they're changing owners. Maybe that'll help. Michael Jordan
They are
selling,
changing the
but
coach too.
they not decided who it is, or I
Yeah,
thought
they
they.
got Charles Lee, I think, right?
I don't remember.
Charles
So
Lee, the Celtics assistant, I
yeah.
say.
So I think they just really need to work on that, and then they didn't address anything like that to kind of make it better. Like, do you really want to be a team where like a guy comes up to you and says, "Hey, this team just let you go," and they're like, "I don't care," you know? Like
Yeah.
I'm talking about Bertans. He's like,
Oh yeah,
so
his video.
literally his video
He's
is like,
like,
I don't,
all right, great.
uh, do you don't want to be that team, and that starts with your front office and your coaching and attitudes and things like that. So sorry, so C plus. That was a little bit of a ramble about the Hornets, and but what do you think?
Yeah, I give him a B minus, so I'm pretty close to you here. Re-signed a domestic abuser. Don't love that.
Mm-mm.
Didn't run over any kids as far as I heard, but I could be wrong. Um,
I was going to bring it up, but I brought it up last time, so I'm glad you did.
they brought in Taj Gibson, nice veteran presence. Maybe that'll change some of the culture there. Like you mentioned, Seth Curry as well. I really like the addition of Josh Green. I think they only gave up like a couple seconds or something to get him. So that's nice. And yeah, you said they have some young guys that we like, and we do. Michael Jordan, I think, sold his majority ownership. I
Yeah.
don't know. So yeah, I could throw him right on the back of the B tier here, I guess, for now.
Yeah,
Uh,
sounds about right.
that works for me.
Very cool.
Move on, move on.
All right, how many have we
Oh,
talked? Oh, oh wait, what is
oh,
it?
give me
Which
the
one is it?
Hawks. Yes, I don't have to talk about
Hawks.
the Wizards. All
I'm
right,
so
the
jealous. I'll tell you why I'm jealous you got the Hawks. Here you go.
Okay. I got the Hawks. I gave them a C minus, actually, is the grade I gave them with. They did make the decision to trade DeJounte, which in this podcast I have harped on teams not making decisions. They made this decision. I don't think they got a lot back for him. Dyson Daniels, nice young prospect, which is good. That's a good piece. He hasn't been great or anything. He's been fine. Larry Nance is a fine player, but you also have Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. So like, what does that really add to your team? Um, I think they got to get rid of Trey Young. I think they got to get rid of him too and just really blow it up and go like full rebuild instead of kind of retooling around Trey Young.
Hmm.
Because I feel like it feels like the Trey Young era is hit its peak with that Eastern Conference Finals run and has never been able to recover. And then they of course had the first pick, drafted Zachary Richichet, and he's been fine. He's been okay. Hasn't looked amazing or anything, but yeah, he is young and maybe need time to develop, of course. So that's why I have him landing here at C minus.
Okay, so you gave him a C minus. I also gave them a C minus. But the
Huge.
reason why I was jealous that you got this is because you didn't even mention it. They also got Cody Zeller, dude.
Ah,
They got Cody Zeller, man.
I
So now they have
forgot to note
Cody
that one.
Zeller, Larry Nance Jr.,
S
Onyeka
plus.
Okongwu, and Clint Capella, dude. It's perfect. And in addition to everything you mentioned, they also lost Sadiq Bey for nothing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah,
bad. I forgot
huge,
about that.
huge loss. I would rather have Sadiq Bey than a few of these people
They
for
traded
sure.
like 5 second-round picks for him and then didn't.
Yeah, and just didn't do. He got hurt, and he was good for them, and just didn't do anything. So yeah, I for everything you said, I agree that I'm glad that they traded
L.
DeJounte Murray. They could have gotten so much more though.
Mhm.
And Larry Nance doesn't make a sense on this team. Neither does Zeller because they are centers, and they have two centers that
Do
are
you
good.
want him before or after the Lakers here?
I kind of want them before because they did something at
Yeah.
least. I hate to say it.
Sorry, Lakers, you're demoted.
Oh yeah, I like how trying to keep it even. It's just I sometimes I haven't been high on my Lakers this whole time. So you got to be hard on tough love. It's tough
Stuff,
love.
stuff, stuff out here.
It's tough loving. But how many have we talked about so far? We're almost halfway. I
12.
think so. Yeah,
18 more.
we getting there. We're all good. We're doing great. We're doing good. This is
Tell me
fun.
about your Portland
Oh,
Trailblazers.
okay. I don't hate the Trailblazers, so this is okay. Where I don't. Okay, so okay, here we go.
Portland.
Portland. I give them a B.
Okay.
They drafted well. They got Donovan Clingan, very good prospect. They signed Denny Avdia. I like that. young forward. They also got Devontae Graham. I think they re-signed him. Way too many guards for sure. Need to make some decisions. They did lose Malcolm Brogdon for nothing, I believe. I think his contract was up,
I
and
can answer
that's
that for you right now
please
if you
answer
want
it.
me to.
Yes.
They did not sign Denny Abdia. They traded him. Traded for him from the
Oh,
Wizards, and Malcolm Brogdon was in that trade.
thank you very much. Yeah. So I don't hate that. I like Malcolm Brogdon, but for sure you have a lot of guards, so you're good. Another reason why I didn't give it a little bit higher. I mean, now I'm looking at it, probably like B minus more, but you still have Jeremy Grant and you're paying him a lot of money. So get
Yeah.
rid of that contract. You're doing a lot better. I think their draft was probably the highlight, and they have a lot of good, talented guards. But
Mhm.
I think this year is going to be about seeing who's going to be staying, who maybe you'll work on, who's going to move on, things like that. So B minus is my answer. What about you?
Yeah, I had him listed here as at an A for drafting Klingon at such a good value.
Yeah.
At 7, I thought that was big. Of course, they still have Jeremy Grant, like you mentioned, and Aiton, I think, as well. Both
Oh,
of those
right.
guys
Yeah.
need to go on somewhere. It's only been, year one of them on the team, but obviously they're not there for the long run. Or not year one in the rebuild, rather.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think maybe during the season they can maybe trade some of them, hopefully. And then I really like the Deni Advia trade. I think giving up Malcolm Brogdon, I believe it was the 14th pick. The Wizards drafted Bub Carrington, if I'm not mistaken, with that pick. I think that's good value for Deni Avdija, good defensive forward.
Yeah.
So I liked that. That's why I gave him an A. I know they do have a lot of guards with Simons and Scoot and Shaden Sharp, but I think all three of those guys are could be very good. So we'll kind of see. Like you said, they'll have to maybe
Yeah.
make some decisions on who the guy is. But I don't hate B minus. I understand where you're coming from, so I could see him sliding down here in the B tier somewhere.
Yeah. I'd say like behind the Pelicans, maybe at least. Almost shuffle it a little bit, but definitely better than the Hornets. Yeah. You know what I mean?
God, can't
Um,
fix it. Okay.
Cool. But yeah, I'm excited to see that. That's actually that made like the first game I go to this season is going to be Clippers Trailblazers. So we'll see. Oh, I'm jealous, dude.
Dang, I got the Wizards anyways. Damn.
Tell me.
Okay. I actually gave the Wizards a B plus. Here's why I gave the Wizards a B plus. There's not a lot of hope for this team. Um, They drafted Alex Sarr at the second pick. He shot 0 for 15 in a game. That was crazy, but I did think he would be a good prospect. He just didn't have the greatest summer league. Bub Carrington, I mentioned, 14, which is fine. They get Sadiq Bey for the low. He's probably not going to play a lot this year because he's coming off that torn ACL, but I think he'll be good value. And they get Valanciunas, who I think they'll trade probably pretty quickly. Would be ideal, right? Um, but they just signed an asset for free that they can eventually flip, so that's good for them. And then of course they also re-signed Rashawn Holmes to trade him, and they traded for Brogdon, who they'll probably flip. They just got a bunch of people that I think they want to trade.
Yeah,
And as the season goes on, contenders at the trade deadline typically get a little more desperate, wanting to add, a piece or two for their playoff run. So I think that's probably when the Wizards will flip most of these people, and that's good to kind of rack up on that while you can.
absolutely. I agree with you. I think this is something like the Hornets need to do. You know what I mean? Like this is what should be their kind of seems like they're making decisions on players and bringing in people that to move so they can get more picks and be able to get younger players. And I don't hate the Alex Sarr draft pick, although 0 for 15 is atrocious in summer league no less. I love Valanciunas, who will be moved. Sadiq Bey, like you mentioned, was a great signing for the value. Malcolm Brogdon will maybe you hope that he would be able to mentor Jordan Poole a little bit, but
We can
he's
all
not going
hope.
to listen. He put on a team with Steph Curry and didn't get better, so they did lose Tyus Jones, like Denny Abdi that we mentioned. Also, they lost the GOAT Landry Shamet. I don't think you mentioned that. Crazy. Um,
Is he in the NBA still?
I think he might have just they might have waived him. I don't remember. I just have lost Landry Shamet.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I gave him a C plus, but I don't hate like a B minus for them.
Okay.
Um, yeah, at least I like that. At least they're not trying to. hold on to a max player and just try to make the play in. Like they're like, no, we know we are, and maybe they'll try to flip Kuz to. You never know. So we'll see. Wasn't terrible. Not a bad offseason. Better than the Lakers.
That's all that matters to you.
Yeah, I'm
Everyone
just like
being listed higher than the
everyone's.
Lakers.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about it of people I don't like. I have maybe I think I gave the Lakers the worst grade. Actually, I'm looking at all of my grades. I don't think I gave anyone else that low. I didn't. I didn't. Wow.
Wow.
Who am I talking about?
You're telling
Oh,
me about Lithuania's own Matas Buzelis and the Chicago Bulls.
all right. So I give him a B minus.
Okay.
Re-signed Patrick Williams. Yes, he's been there already a while, hasn't like done a lot, but I think now getting rid of these veterans, let the younger players play more, he'll be able to develop better. They drafted Matas Buzalis, who's good, who's a good player. I think he has a lot of potential. They signed Jalen Smith and Chris Duarte. I like both of them. I know Chris Duarte, well, he was in the trade. He is he was a 24-year-old rookie, but he is a good player. And I liked him quite a bit. And Jalen Smith is good. They got Josh Giddey. Should have got picks for it. Sure, it is what it is. Would be higher, but they still have Vucevic and Levine on the team. So get rid of them, get some picks, get some young players, and then let Kobe White give him the ball and let him do his thing and
Let him cook.
let him cook. And then let the younger players just, develop. And then maybe in a few years you'll be contending for a play-in. We'll see.
Yeah. You said
That's
B
what I think.
minus. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him at C plus, so pretty
Okay.
close.
Nice.
They brought in some young guys, like you mentioned, Josh Giddey. Probably could have got picks there. They did draft Matas, which I thought was a great value pick for them, at like 11. That was pretty
hmm
late, I think, for him. Um, they still have Levine on their team. They still have Vucevic on their team. So both of those things I don't love. I think last year I gave the team an F for not doing anything. So now they're sitting here at a C plus for me. And I just think, yeah, that they can do more. Hopefully they decide to run young guys more than the other people this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can move off of Levine or Vucevic at some point. I know they like just extended Vucevic like during the season or something, so that's terrible, but we'll see if they can bottom off on somebody else.
Yeah. I do have to mention too that they did trade DeMar DeRozan, so good for them. Or sign and
Ah,
trade,
yeah,
right?
they didn't get that much back
I know they
though.
didn't. They should. I remember when we saw the trade and it was like Harrison Barnes. I was like, oh, okay, they got Harrison Barnes back. Cool.
Actually, they didn't. He went to the Spurs.
And then he went to this. No, no, I know. I was, yeah, it was like, hey, they got all this. I was like,
Yeah,
I remember I was at the Blink-182 concert when you texted me that. And I was like, okay, they did it. Good. I was like, not bad. Like, it could have been worse. And then I read into it later, like, oh, it was bad.
it it,
It
it was
was,
worse.
it was worse than we thought. But it was better than last year. So
That's for sure.
that's all that
We're
matters.
halfway there,
We're halfway there, boy.
living on a
Let's
prayer.
get it. Living on a prayer. All
Oh,
right.
Cleveland Cavaliers. It's my turn?
No,
Sure. No, I think it is.
no.
Because
Yes,
didn't
it
you do? Yeah,
is.
you
It
did Bulls
is.
first.
It is.
Yeah, still, don't doubt me, son. I I ended up going with A minus for the Cavs. They re-signed Jared Allen. They re-signed Donovan Mitchell, which I didn't think they were going to be able to do. I thought they were going to lose him. And they re-signed Evan Mobley. So they got three of their four core guys back. I know we've talked about picking a direction, but two of the guys. Um, but I think the idea here, they got a new coach in Kenny Atkinson. They're going to maybe try one more time with a new coach, see how it looks, and then pick a direction. I'm fine with that, especially because if you're re-signing these guys, that means you're not losing them for nothing. Um, so that's good. And I know they're looking at some development maybe from Evan Mobley. I know Garland had kind of a down season, being injured and whatnot. So that wasn't great. But uh, Garland also reported like if you re-signed Donovan Mitchell, I want you to trade me. So I don't know if that's happening in some point in the future. But it was a second round team. They got kind of wiped by the Celtics, which was to be expected. But they're keeping their main components of their team together under a new coach, and I think that's fine to do for like a year. And then if it's still like, your ceiling is like the 4 seed or the 5 seed, then maybe it's like, okay, now we need to do something here. Um, but I was just honestly surprised that they were able to re-sign Donovan Mitchell. I thought he was not going to be there. So
Yeah. I agree with you. Everything you said, I have in my notes. The only thing I have is that I think they needed to do more. I think they needed to address some of those issues they had in the playoffs, although Donovan Mitchell was injured partly for that. So I think having a healthy season for everyone on the Cavs team will do them a lot of good.
Yeah.
Um, and they didn't lose anybody, which was good. And I just kind of wanted them to address some of those more issues. I think they just needed to have a bit more shooting or defending to kind of go up against those higher teams in the East. But I don't. I agree with what you said too. And a year of just health, new coach, see what happens, then make a decision. Not terrible.
So what'd you
So I
have
get
them
I had B. I gave
at?
him a
Okay.
B. Yeah.
Where's
So
that
I don't
land
know.
them here?
You want to throw him in front of the Blazers?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cavalier. B for Cavalier. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite.
all
All
right.
right. Let's keep
Who's
this train
next? I have
rolling.
some very good grades and some very bad grades left. Keep getting a lot of my middle of the pack grades. I want to talk about some of the other
No,
ones. Tell me
Brooklyn.
about Brooklyn.
Okay, so I actually I give him a B
Okay.
for Brooklyn. They traded
B for
away
Brooklyn.
Mikal Bridges, and I think they got a lot back for him. I think it was pretty good value. They got a lot of picks, and they got their picks back from next year. You mentioned earlier as a negative for the Rockets, but this is definitely a plus for the Nets. They're giving Killian Hayes a chance, which I don't hate. Re-signed Claxton, and they also got Shake Milton. I don't hate it. They're a team that's being cobbled together. They have some older players. They have Dennis Schroeder still on the team, and don't really know like if he's going to stick around or if they're trying to move him. But I don't hate what they did. Like the getting their picks back was probably the biggest thing. I think Cam Johnson still can be moved as well.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see. What do you think?
I gave him an S. I gave him an S. Trading
Nice.
Mikal Bridges. They got like four unprotected picks from the Knicks and three swaps or something insane like that. Um, got Zaire Williams. Woo. For nothing. And then they got their own picks back from the Rockets, which I think is huge. They re-signed Claxton, who I think is good. Maybe they'll flip him in a year or two. I don't know. You said they probably have more pieces they could flip. I think you're right about that. Dorian Finney-Smith, another one of those.
Oh yeah.
Um, is Dennis Schroeder still on that team? That guy? I don't know if he's still. I think he still plays there. The Nets
He
are like a purgatory in my mind. I don't know who's ever on their team.
You're so funny when we talk about them. It's so funny.
Um, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I gave him an S because I think if you're trying to blow it up and rebuild, that's how you do it. And getting your own picks back is so huge. I mean, I thought that was awesome. So, and getting rid of Mikhail and getting that much return, that's why I had them in the yes tier.
Okay. Oh, like in front of the Pacers, and then maybe they'll go up.
Brooklyn, this is for you.
Brooklyn. A for Brooklyn.
Hey,
A for Nets. Easy. Easy does it.
oh, Miami,
Okay.
Miami.
Tell me about the
Let me
Heat.
tell you about Miami. I gave Miami a C. Exactly a C. They signed Bam to an extension. That's nice. I like Bam. He had a pretty good Olympics, started shooting threes. I don't know if we'll see some of that in the regular season here. And they drafted Khalil Ware, who I was questionable because he was like kind of a center too. But he almost won Summer League MVP. He was like all Summer League first team, so he was really good. That's great. But I do think like in that pick, their Connect was still there. Jared McCain was still there. I think he went right after the Sixers. There were some guys that maybe fit the team a little better. And then worst thing for me I had was they lost Caleb Martin. They offered him a contract, I think 5 years, 65 million or something like that, and then he took a lower deal to go to the Sixers. But the guy almost won Eastern Conference Finals MVP a couple of years ago. So, um, good player. Unfortunate to lose. The Jimmy saga is kind of crazy right now. I didn't have that in my notes, but just thinking about it, like his whole, him being very outspoken, and Pat Riley's like, "What are we doing here?" And the team is like, eh.
Yeah.
So. That's why I had him at C. I could see an argument for even lower though.
I gave him C plus, but I could see an argument for lower.
Okay.
I did like that they signed Alec Burks. It's probably the only thing I really like that they brought to the team. You lose Caleb Martin, you bring in somebody older, not as good, but fills in that role. Um, at least something. They did resign Bam, Kevin Love, Thomas Bryant, who like never really played. Also Haywood Highsmith, he's back. Um, we have yet to see like a healthy season, a full year of a Terry Rozier on this team.
Yeah,
Hopefully, he will be able to do something for them. And the Jimmy Butler saga is interesting, but yeah, the Heat. You never want to count out the Heat, but every season, every off season, I want to so
I'm
badly.
ready to count them out. I'm
I know,
I'm
I
over the Heat.
know.
We'll get
I
to our
because
standings eventually.
Yeah, yeah. I like Eric Spoelstra a lot. He's a great coach, one of the best out there. Needs to win Coach of the Year at some point. But he has
But
a
it's
hard
not this
job.
year,
Not this year. He has a hard job ahead
unless
of
he does
him.
some crazy stuff.
Going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, the eighth seed was the year, but unfortunately, you don't know that when you give out the Coach of the Year at that point. But besides that, yeah, they're like a C. They didn't do much of anything to me. I'd put him behind the Hawks, maybe.
Above the Lakers, though. Hmm.
Above the Lakers. It's still better than the Lakers because at least they signed Alec Burks. We could have got Alec Burks, but we didn't. I would have loved Alec Burks on my team. You've that's where it comes down to. I'm like all these minimum guys. I'm like we can have some minimums.
Right.
All right, Warriors.
You're so
Okay,
used to getting them as a Laker fan. Everyone
I
wants to play over
know,
there. So
I know. I was like, it's wild. Wait, where are the? Okay, they're up here because of Golden State. I keep forgetting it's. Anyways, so I gave the Warriors an A minus, all things considered. That's kind of how I worded it. So they did lose Klay Thompson. They waived Chris Paul, but they did sign Buddy Hield, who could shoot threes, one of the best. Kyle Anderson, very underrated player, and
yeah.
DeAnthony Melton, who is a veteran guard who's a good player, a very good NBA player. So all things considered, I give him an A minus.
Oh,
Klay Thompson wasn't, yeah, he wasn't going to be playing as well, and that relationship is severed. You definitely don't want that bad feelings on the team. So I think that was good that they moved him instead of just keeping him around
mhm.
to have him like be like a sourpuss on the bench or whatever. So you did lose Chris Paul for nothing. So that Jordan Poole trade and everything kind of blew up in your face. But you still have Steph Curry. You still have Draymond Green as long as he doesn't do anything crazy on the court. Like just be a normal person.
Who knows?
And I think the Warriors can be kind of one of those underrated teams. But what do you think?
Yeah, I had the Warriors at an A. Big bringing in Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, D'Anthony Melton. You mentioned all three of those guys, really big additions for that team. I think they could fit the system that they have going on over there as well, which I think is really important for the Warriors. You do lose Klay Thompson on a bit of dramatic kind of whatever. When he goes to the Mavericks, he thinks they're a contender. So that's that sucks sentimentally, but like in terms of how he's looked over the past couple seasons, replacing with Buddy Hield, who, of course, not as good as a defender, but at this point in their career, similar shooters. Um, Obviously, all time, Clay is like one of the greatest ever. So,
Yeah.
but right now, that I think that's fine. You're keeping the Steph era going, which normally I would hate when teams do this, but like we mentioned earlier, he's probably a for lifer, and I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
Just ride out these years being a play-in team with Steph Curry. That's fine. Um, you won four
Yeah.
championships, so like that's okay. We can live with that. So that's why I had them at A.
Yeah. I like them. I like them there. A minus for sure. I think they did pretty good, all things considered.
I'll split the Pacers and
Oh,
Kings with the
excuse me.
Warriors.
All right. Well, we got it loaded in the middle. Let's see. Let's get some. We have no Fs so far. I don't know how it'll
Just
go.
you wait.
Oh
Um,
God. Any worse than the Lakers? Okay.
Oklahoma City.
Tell me. Tell me.
Where let me find them. Yeah, I gave him an S plus. My second
Yeah.
S plus. I gave one to the Celtics. I gave one to the Thunder. They get Isaiah Hartenstein. He was awesome in the playoffs. I think he'll be really good for them. Playmaking, rebounding, backing up Chet most likely. They get Caruso for Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey wasn't good for them in the playoffs. They benched him and then they ship him out, which I think is perfect. They didn't make any trades at the deadline because they were like, let's see where we are in the playoffs. They saw that they were in the playoffs and they said, let's address it right now. And they did a great job getting Caruso. And then they also got Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins on really, really good deals. We talked about like 5-year, $50 million deals for both of them, just about that. So um, this team was the one seed. They were young. They're going to get better. They got better players. Probably the best offseason, honestly. It's up there. So
Yes. I give him an A plus, which translates to an S tier for me. I wish I could show you my notes because they have every single thing you said. The only thing I mentioned is that they traded Caruso for Giddy and they gave up no picks.
No
They
picks.
have 1,500 and they gave up no picks.
Yeah.
That's
They could
crazy.
still do more.
Yeah, they definitely had the best offseason because they got players, they got better players on their team, re-signed, and they're not even close to like the aprons or second aprons or
Yeah.
anything like that, right? Like, and they still have all their million picks. So
It's
amazing
about to go
offseason.
crazy in the state of Oklahoma. Look out.
I'm very excited for them. They're also a team that I know you were a fan of the Thunder because of Westbrook, and then you're like, okay, now I'm a players fan. But now it must feel good, because you were a fan of the Thunder.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they're good. And I like the Thunder team a lot. So
Yeah. Easy.
but
Didn't need
Luca's
to
my
discuss too
MVP.
much on that.
Absolutely not. Too easy. It's too easy out
Final
here.
10. We did 20. We're down to our
All
last 10.
right.
Kicking off with
Okay.
actually a player you like, Emmanuel Quickly, right?
Let's do it.
Of the Toronto
Absolutely.
Raptors. Let's tell me about the Raptors
Yeah,
offseason.
my first thing, I give Raptors an A minus.
Okay.
Re-signed Scotty Barnes, re-signed Emmanuel quickly. Big fans of them too. They added Bruno Fernando. We were talking
I
about
didn't know
him.
that. I
They
had
got
no.
Bruno. They got Bruno. And they out got Davion Mitchell. I like Davion Mitchell. Great defender, not a great shooter. Hopefully he can develop that. He's still young. They did lose Gary Trent Jr., who for whatever reason is the guy I seem like I talk about all the time
Yeah.
during this offseason, kind of as a joke. But for what they're doing, he doesn't fit the timeline. And I think all things considered, they're doing great. We're not grading them on their, mid-season trades, the OG trade or the Siakam. We're looking at just what they did this offseason, and they did a good job. That's what I think. What about you?
Yeah, I was a lot lower. I had a C. I
Okay.
don't I don't think it was really for anything bad. They gave Barnes the extension, which I thought was good, max extension. Manuel quickly, I like Manuel quickly. $175 million is a lot of money. Um, he hasn't even started a lot of his career, so that was a lot for me. That was a little much, it was a little hurt. They traded for Davion Mitchell on the low, which I think is fine. They lost their draft pick because they didn't tank correctly. It was top six protected, and they lost it to the Spurs, who then traded that to the Timberwolves for Rob Dillingham. Um, I think it was just kind of whatever for me. I think that's kind of why I landed at C. Like I didn't feel super strongly like good or bad about how their offseason
Mhm.
was, but what did you say you had him at? Like B something, A something?
I had A minus.
A minus? Okay, so we could throw him somewhere
Like
else.
like B, lower B. I'm cool with that.
You you like him else?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. Definitely better than the Hornets and Wizards, for sure.
I mean, it's not
And the
hard to do that.
Lakers. And the Lakers, especially the Lakers. Oh God.
All
Okay.
right. Let me tell you about the New York Knickerbockers.
Please.
Um, their offseason, I gave them an S minus, my fourth S of the video. Um, they did give up a lot from Mikhail. I do want to point that out. A lot of picks. They had a lot of picks though. They've been collecting picks kind of like the Thunder. Some not as much, but they had some picks to give up. They gave up a lot of their own picks, which of course, you think you're going to be a contender. That's the picks you want to give up. You want to keep other picks. That makes sense. Um, but now they have the Nova boys. They're complete. They signed Brunson to a great extension, a great, great, great extension. Amazing value. Probably the best thing they did this offseason. They signed OG to a big extension. I think he makes like more money than Jalen Brunson, which is kind of crazy to me. And of course they did lose Isaiah Hartenstein, which is a blow. They just weren't going to be able to afford him with all the other guys they were paying. So it makes sense. Like they had to lose somebody. He was like really good for them in the playoffs. Now they're going to be relying on, Mitchell Robinson, who gets hurt often, unfortunately. Julius Randle was hurt last year. He could probably play some five at times for you. They still have Precious Achiuwa. They still have Jericho Sims. But like if you're thinking you're a finals contender, that guy probably shouldn't be playing for you. Um, so yeah, I could definitely see an argument for going lower with the loss of Isaiah Hartenstein and the amount of things they traded for Mikal Bridges. I'm just very excited about this team coming into the season.
I totally agree. I gave him an A minus, which for me is like an S. They signed Mikal Bridges. Also got campaign. I think that's a great also pickup to back up Brunson, who can handle the ball. Re-signed OG and Precious Achua. Amazing contract for Jalen Brunson. Can't state that enough. Amazing contract. They lost Bojan, didn't play too much. He got injured in the playoffs. Isaiah Hartenstein is definitely the biggest blow for sure. And Alec Burks and Shake Milton, but you replace these wings with Mikal Bridges, who is notoriously durable, and you have
The Iron
OG
Man.
also on that team. So I mean, great offseason for them. I put them in the S tier behind the Magic,
Okay.
probably. You know, I think they did a great job.
Yeah.
All things considered, for sure. And even then, yeah, they lost Hartenstein, but you still have Mitchell Robinson. Please stay healthy. And
Please.
you have Precious, who wasn't that bad in the playoffs at
I want
all.
to see block threes.
Yeah.
Tell me about the people that eliminated your
Oh,
Los Angeles Lakers
ah,
and
oh,
the
that.
Denver Nuggets.
Okay, so I gave him a C plus.
Okay.
But I could go lower. Just so they lost KCP and Reggie Jackson. I mean, need I say
Reggie
more?
Jackson and two of our goats.
Two of them. Are you kidding? You're gonna let both of them go? But they did add Russell Westbrook, who is a good NBA player. Hopefully, he comes off the bench. He definitely will. He absolutely will, because their starting five is going to have, I think, Christian Brown. They're going to slide him in for KCP. And they also got Dario Saric, not a bad NBA player at all. But the thing is, um, you know, this team's already been the same for a bit now. This continuity thing that we kind of mentioned for other teams might be good for them. They're just getting older. I still think the Nuggets are being very good. They're going to be contending. You have the best player um, in the NBA right now on your team. You have Jamal
Hot take,
Murray.
hot take.
I mean, you know how I feel like I have other people I like more, but it's
I
undeniable.
know you want to say
Jokic.
Luca. I know you want to say
I
Luca
know,
so
yeah.
bad.
I'm just like shaking.
Foaming at
Um,
the mouth.
but they needed to do more. So C
Yeah.
plus is what it is, and it could be lower. It's honestly kind of in the same vein for me as the Lakers,
Yeah. Yeah.
but at least they're better than the Lakers.
I
So
had him at D minus for Denver minus. They lost KCP, Reggie Jackson, like you mentioned. Reggie didn't play a ton for them, but I do think he was good when he did have to play. And KCP, of course, the crucial blow, starting shooting guard. Of course, I don't know if you mentioned, maybe I wasn't paying attention. They brought in Russell Westbrook. Yes, sir.
I did mention that.
Um, I don't know if he'll fit well. We'll see. I hope so.
Yeah,
I love Russell Westbrook, so hopefully he fits. But yeah, I had him at D because I mean, I thought it was bad. They lose some key components of their team. I don't think, I love Russell Westbrook. I don't think he's going to make up for what KCP was providing them, of course, in the shooting and the defense. Um, I think they're really just banking on development from Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther, those guys.
and
Um,
that's a lot to do
that's a lot to bank
because
on for
they've been there already
winning a
for
title. So yeah,
throw them in front of the Lakers. I
D
refuse to have them.
D for Denver.
Oh, it's perfect. It works out.
Um, Seven left here.
Seven left. Here we go. Here we go. What
Here's
do we got?
the
Is it
Utes,
Jazz?
the
Okay, cool, cool,
Utah
cool,
Jazz.
cool.
Where do I have them at?
Tell
Here I
me how you
go.
really feel.
I got them at B minus. That's what
Okay.
I got. They have a 5-year extension they signed Laurie Markkinen to, which now they cannot trade him for the whole season. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they'll trade him in the offseason next year. We'll see. I don't think he should be long for this team based on the direction that they are currently going, but he'll be here at least another year. I did really like their draft. They got Cody Williams at 10, which I thought was really good. They got Isaiah Collier at the end of the first round, who I think fell a little bit. I think he was originally projected higher, a year ago this time. And then, of course, they got Kyle Filipowski, who we talked about was groomed by his girlfriend or whatever that weird situation was. Perfect for Utah, so ideal. But talent-wise, I think they're three pretty good players. They have 1,000 young guys on a team. It feels like they signed a bunch of people. I didn't note any of them because I didn't think any of them were super noteworthy.
Yeah.
Lost Chris Dunn. I don't know if that matters. B minus. That's what I had him at.
I give him a C. And
Okay.
mostly I gave him a C because of that deal with Laurie Markkinen. I don't think it's a good one. I think it would have been much better for them if he was trade eligible. That way, if he's playing really well, they could get something of real value back. Now they have to wait all season. So, don't love that for them. I do like Patty Mills. I do like Drew Eubanks, but they have They got to get rid of John Collins. Just a few people there.
John Collins is going to be in the trade block for his whole career.
And Jordan Clarkson's still there too,
Still
which is
there
so
for whatever
wild
reason.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you lost Chris Dunn. So that's why I gave him a C.
Change your goddamn jerseys.
Yeah, yes, that's the big reason why. Don't worry, we're gonna get to we're gonna I'm gonna start foaming at the mouth again because of this like these jerseys are just gonna drive me crazy. My whole life. God. But yeah, you need to make some decisions, although they did draft pretty well. So
Yeah.
I did mention that.
Tell me about Mason's favorite team, the Phoenix
Oh,
Suns.
dude, let's not talk. That doesn't make any sense. He's like, just look cool. I'm like, brother, if you knew. No, Phoenix is fine. Okay, I gave him a B plus.
Okay.
I could see an A minus argued for them because I didn't think initially they did enough, but then they signed quite a few players to minimums that the biggest underrated one for sure is Tyus Jones. You got Tyus Jones.
Tyus.
And yeah, Monte Morris too. You got two ball handlers now.
Monte.
Um, oh, you know what we didn't mention for the Lakers? This has reminded me. They we didn't have it on also on the list. They signed Jordan Goodwin. Do you remember him?
I didn't know that that happened, but
Yeah.
yes, I do know who that is.
I think he's on a two-way or something. So that is something the Lakers did I liked.
Oh,
Anyways.
they're getting upgraded.
Oh, no. Oh, nope. Nuggets are still better. Damn.
Uh,
But yeah, sorry. Back to the Suns. I just reminded myself. They also signed Mason Plumlee. So you replaced Drew Eubanks with Mason Plumlee.
Slumdog
Uh,
Millionaire.
um, oh yeah. You re-signed Royce O'Neal on a deal that you could use to trade. You got Josh Okogie back, who's a good defender. You did lose Eric Gordon and Drew Eubanks. Eric Gordon is older for sure, but he can still make his shots. He makes crazy shots sometimes,
Yeah.
and he's still a good NBA player. Um, so all things considered, they did pretty good. And you still have Bradley Beal and KD and Book and Grayson Allen as well, who's played really well. What do you think?
Yeah, we're twins on this one. I gave him a B plus as well. Tyus Jones, good signing. Monty Morris, good signing. Fine with the extensions on Royce O'Neal and Josh Okogie. Um, the biggest need they had was ball handling. I don't know what this means for their team. Apparently, they guaranteed Tyus Jones a starting spot. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's Tyus Jones, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and then Nurkic? Grayson Allen now has to come off the bench. That kind of sucks.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I feel like Bradley Beal should just come off the bench, but I think
I
he's
was
too high regard of a player to do it. Like I don't think it'll happen.
I literally was about to. I really wish Bradley Beal would come off the bench
Bradley
because
Beal,
that would be it could be scary for
yeah,
sure.
that would make their team pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking
So
pretty high B's here.
high B's. We'll do some shifting for the end for sure.
Down to the
All right.
final five.
All right. Let's get it. Who do we got?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Bucks.
All right, the Milwaukee Bucks. I had their offseason as an A minus. Here's why. They were sneaky. They had some sneaky offseason. Torian Prince, I think, sneaky signing. Gary Trent Jr., sneaky minimum. DeLon Wright, I feel like could be valuable too. So not, game-changing names. They are a really expensive team with Lillard, Giannis, Middleton, Brook Lopez is still there. Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton. They still have the core guys, but I think these guys will hopefully help around the edge. I think, which they needed a little bit of last year. So that's why I had them A minus. Pretty like small deals, but I think deals that ultimately will help them go in the right direction.
We are twins because I gave him also an A minus. And the only thing I mentioned I have in my notes everything you mentioned. The only thing they also lost Malik Beasley, which has one of the greatest
Oh,
highlights of all time. So
the greatest
um
low light of all time.
but the thing is you have Malik Beasley who was a good three-point shooter, not the best defender, and you replace him with Torian Prince, who's better at both. And you also bring in Gary Trent Jr., who can generate offense and defend kind of DeLon Wright, who's also good. So I agree. I think, last year they would have been better if they weren't injured. So, and a full year again even though it's Doc Rivers as the coach, like a full year of your head coach staying with the team is going to do very good things for this team.
Fear the
So
deer, baby.
I'm fearing it. Not that much, but I am.
I'm slightly afraid.
Yeah. All right.
Dallas.
Dallas. Where you at, Mavericks? Where you
Dallas.
at? Oh my God.
What do
Where
you
could
think
they
about
be?
the Dallas
Oh,
Mavericks?
it has to be way up here because they're D. Okay. I gave them A minus.
Okay, okay,
I
okay, okay.
think Mavericks did quite a good job. So they got Klay
Concur.
Thompson. Um, yes, he is older, doesn't defend as well, but one of the best shooters of all time. Hopefully, he could still shoot for them. I think that's great for Luca. You lose Derek Jones Jr., you get Najee Marshall. Not a bad trade-off, if you ask me.
Yeah,
Sure, he's a little bit shorter, and he doesn't like you won't have those highlights, those Luca lob like dunk, flying dunk highlights as much. That's okay because he'll make his layups just as good. You got Quentin Grimes, and he
or
great, good
nothing basically.
defender, ball handler. He's gonna be good. You also got Spencer Dinwiddie, where he had
Oh, he's
some of
back,
his
baby.
he had some of his better years on the Mavericks.
Yeah,
So yeah, the only thing you really lost is Derrick Jones Jr. You're gonna have a full season of PJ.
and Josh Green.
And I actually should have. I that does matter. You did lose Josh Green, but you're gonna have a full year of PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. You still have Jaden Hardy, so A minus. I think it was a good.
Yeah, I had him in the A for pretty much the same reasons. Clay, hopefully he's not taking like the horribly contested twos and more just
Yeah,
like spot open threes. Najee Marshall, you mentioned Derrick Jones Jr. They offer a similar role to your team in terms of being a on ball defender, um, and all that. And then yeah, Quentin Grimes I thought was underrated. They didn't really pay a lot for that. Got rid of Josh Green, which was kind of unfortunate, but um, I think the additions make up for his loss. And yeah, so A it
yeah,
is.
nice. All right, three more. Let's get some hot takes in here.
San Antonio. Wow, we're ending with the Clippers and the 76ers. That's huge.
That is great. I didn't even connect that. That's crazy. So we can talk about both at the same time, essentially,
Yeah,
because it goes hand in hand.
I
Oh,
gave the
yeah,
San Antonio Spurs an A plus because they drafted Stephon Castle at 4, who I wanted the Rockets to get. But Reed Shepard's looked good so far. Traded for HB for basically nothing. They got Harrison Barnes out of nowhere from the DeMar DeRozan trade, and they got Chris Paul, who I think is going to be a good mentor for their point guards, Castle as well as Trey Jones, who's still there. Um, there's still Wimby year 2. I could see him being an all NBA player. He was so good in his rookie year. Um, but aside from that, you still got pieces like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, guys that I think um, hopefully can grow with Wimby and they can just grow as a team. So,
yeah.
they didn't do a ton, but I think the moves they did make sense for their player development, the future of their team. So that's why I was at A plus.
Totally agree with you. I gave him an A. Drafting Stephon Castle's big. Getting Chris Paul just to be like a mentor. I love that also for Chris Paul, not ring chasing. Spurs were not going to be a contender like that
Or
this year. Or yeah, getting Harrison Barnes is also underrated, I think. The only negative is ticket prices to go see the Spurs are gonna go up. I'm like, ah. But they did a great job, so I gave them
F.
an A. F for that. But yeah, they had a good offseason. I was a little, I wouldn't say concerned. I was concerned they were gonna do too much too soon. So I'm
Mm,
glad they didn't. I think what they did was perfect.
yeah.
All right. So I know,
Let's
I mean, I guess we just pick which one we talk about first. Um,
tell me about your Philadelphia.
Oh, we're there. Okay, here we go.
Closing the wheel. Closing.
Wait, is it 76ers, right? Is what I got?
76ers.
Okay, here we go.
Philly.
A plus.
Okay.
S tier. If I can. Man, this was a really good offseason for them. This might have been second behind the Thunder. You got Paul George. Great. Awesome. Re-signed Tyrese Maxey. Great. Kelly Oubre. And I even added KJ Martin or Kenyon Martin Jr. and Kyle Lowry. I'm like, okay, they were there, sure. You got Andre Drummond back as a backup to Embiid. Great, gonna get your rebounds. You got Eric Gordon, space the floor, make threes. Reggie Jackson, need I say
Reggie.
more? Caleb Martin on a team friendly deal because he wants to win, which I understand. You got Gershon Yabusele on a team friendly deal. I mean, these are all good things. You did lose Paul Reed. Not lost Nico Batum, Buddy Hield campaign, sure. But I mean, getting all this back is better. Like they're going to be a much better team. I just want them to be healthy. They're healthy. They play. They are up there. They're scary. They're a scary team for sure this coming year. Um, and I can't wait to see what they do. And now I can like Paul George.
Now you're allowed to like Paul George. You gonna start
Yes, thank
listening to
God.
Podcast P?
Nope.
All right. Um,
Tell me
I
what you think.
had the 76ers in S tier myself, of course, getting Paul George for free. That was big. Caleb Martin, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, you mentioned. Sid Maxey also drafted Jared McCain, who I thought was a nice value there at pick 16, I think. So yeah, I'll slap him right into the S tier. That is great for me. Don't mind that at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. They did a great job. And everyone's worst nightmares kind of came true with the 76ers, you know? So
Yeah.
and also I mean they have a great coach, Nick Nurse too. So I think that's also underrated.
Let's flip the script here, though, to LA's better team, the Los Angeles.
Tell me about him. Tell me about
Rank
him.
the pay. Ripped.
Right.
Yeah. This could be my lowest grade. F plus. That's where I went. F plus. Yeah, I gave him a little plus because I got Derek Jones Jr. But aside from that, they lost Paul George for no reason. You know, we talked about the negotiations and how they went on this podcast before, but basically they had plenty of chances to re-sign him and they just kept disrespecting him. And yeah. I think not being talked about enough, they overpaid James Harden. They gave him 35 million for 2 years. Or 35 million a year, so 70 million for 2 years. That's a lot of money for 34, 35-year-old James Harden. They brought in Kevin Porter Jr. Boo, hate that. Don't like that. Don't like that at all, of course. Got rid of Russell Westbrook, the GOAT. So, you know, it's everything they did. I hate this team. The lowest grade was an F plus, and it was the Clippers. Are you happy? Are you happy with that, Tom? You like you like that?
They were my second lowest grade because I still the Lakers were the only D minus. Like I was just really
Yeah.
hurt, man. But because at least I okay, yes, the Clippers did a terrible job negotiating. They gave too much money to James Harden. Kawhi is injured. I hope he's healthy this season. But he didn't play Olympic basketball because they were worried he was going to be injured. It's like that's not a good sign at all for them.
Right.
You lose Russell Westbrook. You get Mo Bamba. I don't hate Mo Bamba. You got
Obama.
Nico Batum back. You get Chris Dunn, underrated. Derrick Jones Jr. is a good player. I hate that he went to the Clippers because he could have went anywhere and he would have been a good player. So,
Right.
they had a not good offseason. And like you said, Kevin Porter Jr., we don't like that. They do have Kai Jones, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's there.
He's there. I think, I think a big reason why they're giving a lot of money to Harden and trying to keep they want it to be entertaining because they have that new stadium, right? The new arena.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I really wish they just would have blown it up. But they won't, and it's not going to be great for them. So yeah. So that's our list.
It's our list. I don't have time to reorder. And I was pretty happy with. I did
I
a
like it.
minor reshuffling once.
Yeah, I will. I like it. I'm totally fine with
It's a good
this.
list. It's a good list. Yeah, so the Thunder, 76ers, Celtics, Magic, and Knicks we have as S tier off seasons. Hit
Yeah.
us with the A tier.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Brooklyn, Pacers, Spurs, Warriors, Mavericks, Bucks, Kings, and Rockets for the A tier.
B tier we got Suns, Cavs, Trailblazers, Pelicans, Raptors, Hornets, and Wizards.
C tier, we have the Bulls, Jazz, Timberwolves, Pistons, Hawks, Heat. And let's finish this up. What do we got at the very bottom? What do we got at the end?
We got the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Grizzlies in D tier. And Dom, with all the pleasure in the world, tell me who our low and F tier is.
The Clippers suck. The Clippers. What if I was ripped this shirt while I was saying that? If this shirt
Okay.
wasn't awesome because it has the worst catchphrases of all time, I would have ripped this shirt up right now. But yeah, that's it. I'm very happy with this list. I think we were on the same page about a lot of things.
Yeah. We had a
and
couple. I was startled at the beginning. I think it was for
the
the Wolves or
Pistons.
something, or the
Pistons.
Pistons. I had a D and you had a B. I was like, oh, how off are we about to
B
be?
minus,
D
granted, but D for Detroit, B minus for Detroit basketball. But yeah, I like this list. I think
Detroit
I it
basketball.
just gets me more excited for the season and everything. So um can't wait for these next. So we'll do, point guards or something next. Hopefully the city
Yeah,
jerseys come out soon. We can do that as well. We'll have our rankings at some point as well. So
yeah,
might start
awards and all
that
that.
and awards and all that stuff. So I before we go, I do want to say to you, break a leg today at your show. I'm very
My
excited for
first
you.
show. I'm supposed to be there at 5:30, which is in 30 minutes.
Okay,
It is about
toss
20
toss
minutes
the
away.
ball. Toss
So
the
we'll
ball.
I got 10 minutes to speed run getting ready, but
All right.
I think I can manage.
I believe in you. Okay, toss this ball. You're gonna make
Yeah,
it. You're gonna make it. I believe. Well, we'll get
I
it
hit the
next
fan,
time.
I think.
Ah. But again, thank you for listening. We're gonna do a lot more videos as the season kind of progresses. Share with your friends, and we appreciate you so much. And once again, this is a
Break the
two-man
paint,
game
rip the
with
net.
Give No Quarter. That's our new podcast name. Is this?
Come on, man.
It's two-man game with Damon and Dom. Thank you for coming.
Buckets.